And the final and last one. My hair was nicely brushed a while ago. Whatever. So, make sure the mic is covered. I think it is. Let's do this. Welcome. Today is day 6 of our 40-day devotional on the theme Go. My name's Moriah, and I am the Children's Ministry Admin here at Harvest Time Church, Eau Claire. For our devotional today, we are going to look at Genesis 22, 1 through 13 from the New Living Translation. It says, "Sometime later, God tested Abraham's faith. 'Abraham,' God called. 'Yes,' he replied, 'here I am. Take your son, your only son, yes, Isaac, whom you love so much, and go to the land of Moriah. Go and sacrifice him as a burnt offering on one of the mountains which I will show you.' The next morning, Abraham got up early. He saddled his donkey and took 2 of his servants with him, along with his son Isaac. Then he chopped wood for a fire for a burnt offering and set out for the place God had told him about. On the 3rd day of their journey, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. 'Stay here with the donkey,' Abraham told the servants. 'The boy and I will travel a little further. We will worship there, and then we will come right back.' So Abraham placed the wood for the burnt offering on Isaac's shoulders, while he himself carried the fire and the knife. As the two of them walked on together, Isaac turned to Abraham and said, 'Father?' 'Yes, my son,' Abraham replied. 'We have the fire and the wood,' the boy said. 'But where's the sheep for the burnt offering?' 'God will provide a sheep for the burnt offering, my son,' Abraham answered, and they both walked on together. When they arrived at the place where God had told him to go, Abraham built an altar and arranged the wood on it. Then he tied his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. And Abraham picked up the knife to kill his son as the sacrifice. At that moment, the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven, 'Abraham, Abraham!' 'Yes,' Abraham replied, 'here I am.' 'Don't lay a hand on the boy,' the angel said. 'Don't hurt him in any way, for now I know that you truly fear God. You have not withheld from me even your son, your only son.' Then Abraham looked up and saw a ram caught by its horns in the thicket. So he took the ram, sacrificed it as a burnt offering in the place of his son. Abraham named the place Yahweh-Yireh, which means the Lord will provide. To this day, people still use that name as a proverb on the mountain the Lord. To this day, people still use that name as a proverb. On the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. So while looking at the scripture, I don't know if I'm looking up or down. Sorry, Kyle. While looking at scriptures, talking of go, I was reminded Pause. Okay, I'm back. While looking at scriptures on the topic of go, While looking at scriptures talking of go, I was reminded of the While looking at scriptures talking of go, I was reminded of Genesis 22:2. The scripture references the land of Moriah, I don't know where my finger was. While looking at scriptures talking of go, it's so tongue twisted every time. Okay. While looking at scriptures talking of go, I was reminded of Genesis 22:2. The scripture references the land of Moriah, and being that my name is Moriah, spelled the same way, I decided to dig into it. So looking into the Hebrew context of Moriah, it means seen of Yah, which is a shortened version of a name of God, which breaks down to one of its meanings being seen by God. God called Abraham to go to the land of Moriah, the land seen by God. He called Abraham to trust him, testing his faith, even though Abraham did not know what the outcome was going to be. He had faith that God would provide, though. He even came to the final moments where he was about to sacrifice his only son. Sacrifice his only son. He even came to the final moment. No, where was I looking? He even came to the final moment where he was going to sacrifice his son. He knew that God promised him Isaac and that he could trust God to continue to provide, and that's what God did. Abraham named the place in the land of Moriah, Yahweh, which means the Lord will provide. So, with our theme this year of go, remember, the Lord will provide. The Lord sees you, and the Lord keeps his promises time and time again, as we've seen many times through Scripture. So, again, I've seen many times through Scripture. Connected with last year's theme of stand, we can continue to stand on his promises and truth. We can continue to stand on his promises and trust the Lord as you go. Let's go back to connected. Connected with last year's theme of stand, you can continue to stand on his promises and trust in the Lord as you go. So, go and make disciples. Go into all the world, and these signs will follow as you go. Knowing you can trust God and knowing that you can trust God and he keeps his promises. Thanks for tuning in today for our devotional today, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye. I did it! Thank God, I'm so tired of this.